Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Committee of Adjustments. May I have a move and a seconder to call this meeting to order? Henry and Steve, that the Committee of Adjustments meeting held on April 24th, 2024 come to order at 6 p.m. All those in favor? Carried. Are there any disclosure of pecuniary interest this evening? Seeing none. May I have a mover and a seconder to adopt the previous minutes? Steve and Henry, that the Committee of Adjustments minutes dated March 26, 2024 be adopted as presented. All in favor? Carried. Welcome to this Committee of Adjustments meeting to allow the public an opportunity to express their views regarding the proposed minor variances and consents within the Township of Springwater. Each applicant and their agent, if applicable, will be given the opportunity to present the applications to the committee and public. Additional information on each of the applications, including any presentation materials, is available in the committee agenda on the township's website. Following those members of the public whom registered to make an oral submission prior to 5:30 p.m. April 23rd, 2024, will be given the opportunity to do so. All oral submissions will be held in this meeting's minutes and form part of the public record, including the name and address of the speaker as information collected under the Municipal Freedom of Information and Protection of Privacy Act. The minutes of the meetings will be posted on the township website. All comments or questions should be addressed to the chair. Will the Secretary Treasurer please introduce the first application, item number 4.1 on the agenda?
Thank you, Chair Maud Chapman. Item 4.1 on the agenda is minor variance application A4222, submitted by D. Baxter on behalf of S. Baker, owner of lands known municipally as 93 Queen Street West. The applicant is seeking a minor variance to permit the construction of a 113.7 square meter detached accessory building that will result in a total maximum ground floor area for all detached accessory buildings on the property of 121.1 square meters. Whereas section 5313 permits a maximum of 65 square meters or 699.65 square feet. Please note this application was previously deferred on November 30th, 2022, pending additional clarification and information.
Have any additional correspondence and/or comments been received?
Thank you. With the current circulation, the following correspondence and comments have been received. Severn Sound Environmental Association stating that the site is in an existing developed urban area and they do not have any natural heritage comments on the proposal. And from the Nottawasaga Valley Conservation Authority stating that they no longer have any concerns, provided a signed survey is submitted as well as the construction drawings as part of the permitting process.
Can I please have the applicant introduce themselves and provide comment, if any?
Not sure what you want me to say. I'm just here just to, go for that minor variance to build a garage just for, for storage of seasonal vehicles and have a little workshop and stuff. That's about it. Pardon me? Oh, okay. Okay.
Are there any members of the public registered to make an oral submission?
Thank you, Chair. There have been no members of the public who have registered to make an oral submission for this application.
Thank you. Are there any additional members of the public in attendance this evening to make an oral submission? Seeing none, thank you. Do any members of the committee wish to comment or have any questions concerning this application? May I have a motion from one of the committee members for application A4222? Steve?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Put forward a motion that the application be approved as outlined in the staff report and the subject condition that's included. Thank you.
May I have a seconder? Brad? That the Committee of Adjustments having given consideration to the applicable provisions of Section 45 of the Planning Act, the official plan of the Township of Springwater, the characteristics of the land in question and its surrounding as addressed in the planning report on the application dated November 30th, 2022 and April 24, 2024, the correspondence received and information presented at the hearings held on November 30th, 2022 and April 24, 2024, and the discussion of the matter hereby approve application A42/22 as applied for, subject to the following conditions. A portion of the existing easement over the subject lands benefiting the Township of Springwater be successfully nullified prior to the construction of the proposed detached accessory. All in favor? Carried. Thanks very much.
All right, thank you.
Will the Secretary Treasurer please introduce the next application, item number 4.2 on the agenda?
Thank you. Item 4.2 on the agenda is minor variance application A0624 submitted by R. Manser, owner of lands known municipally as 12229 County Road 27. The applicant is seeking approval to permit the construction of a 70 square meter detached accessory building with a maximum height of 4.2 meters, exceeding the dwelling's height, which measures approximately 3.8 meters. Whereas section 3.7.5 states, no detached accessory building to any residential or accessory residential use shall exceed the height of the dwelling to a maximum height of 4.5 meters.
Have any additional correspondence and or comments been received?
Thank you. There has been comments from the Severn Sound Environmental Association stating that they have no natural heritage comments on the property as it's outside their watershed. There's comments from the resident of 12222 County Road 27 providing supports of the application, and from the Nottawasaga Valley Conservation Authority stating no objection.
Can I please have the applicant introduce himself and provide comment, if any? Welcome.
Evening. So I'm gonna be demolishing the existing garage and building a larger garage in the exact same location. So it's currently a 16-foot by 22-foot accessory building. It will be increased to a 25-foot by 30. And as stated, the issue lies with the roof height measured at mid-height. My current dwelling is 3.84 meters at mid-height, and the proposed garage is 4.27 meters at mid-height. So that's why.
Thank you. Are there any members of the public registered to make an oral submission?
Thank you, Chair. There have been no members of the public who have registered to make an oral submission.
Are there any additional members of the public in attendance this evening to make an oral submission? Seeing none. Thank you. Do any members of the committee wish to comment or have any questions concerning the application? Steve?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Through you to the applicant. So the garage that's being for the increase in height, what is the hindrance why you can't comply with the current standard?
I'd like a lift to stack vehicles in storage. So 10-foot ceiling, 8-foot ceiling is too low. I would like a 12-foot ceiling minimum, and I would like drainage for the roof. I could go a flat roof, but I prefer to have some slope.
Go ahead, Steve.
Through you, Madam Chair. So you mean like just like a car hoist so you can do work on your car? Okay. And then the storage that's up top, is that kind of like a loft or is it standing height?
No loft, just for a lift.
Just for a lift?
Just for a lift.
Okay. Thank you.
May I have any other questions? May I have a motion from one of the committee members for application A06/24? Henry?
I make a motion that we accept the proposal along with the recommendations put forth by planning staff.
May I have a seconder? Steve? Or Brad, sorry. That the Committee of Adjustments, having given consideration to the applicable provisions of Section 45 of the Planning Act, the official plan of the Township of Springwater, the characteristics of the land in question and its surrounding as addressed in the planning report on the application dated April 24, 2024, the correspondent received and information presented at the hearing held on April 24, 2024, and the discussion on the matter hereby approve application A06/24 as applied for. All in favor? Carried. Thanks very much.
Excellent. Thank you.
Will the Secretary Treasurer please introduce the next application, item number 4.3 on the agenda?
Thank you, Chair Maw Chapman. Item 4.3 on the agenda is minor variance application A0724. Submitted by A. Ortiz on behalf of I. Maurice regarding lands known municipally as 2215 North Ore Lake Road and legally described as Lot 30 and part of street on Plan 858, former Township of Floss. The purpose of the application is to permit the reconstruction of a deck measuring 36.7 square meters with a reduced minimum setback from the water's edge of 12.5 meters, whereas Section 3.26 of the zoning bylaw requires all structures to be set back at least 18 meters from the water's edge.
Have any additional correspondence and or comments been received?
Yes, correspondence has been received from the Severn Sound Environmental Association stating that they have no natural heritage comments, but provided some general information on shorelines and shoreline property. There is also comments from the Nottawasaga Valley Conservation Authority stating no objection.
Can I please have the applicant introduce themselves and provide comment, if any?
Hi,
Hi, welcome.
welcome, thank you. Well, this is just for the deck that you guys are talking about. And it's an area like a landing that is besides the deck, a landing that is getting closer to the lake. That's why we are applying for the minor variance to see if it's allowed.
Thank you. Are there any members of the public registered to make an oral submission?
Thank you, Chair. There have been no members of the public who have registered to make an oral submission.
Thank you. Are there any additional members of the public in attendance this evening to make an oral submission? Thank you. Do any members of the committee wish to comment or have any questions concerning the application? Seeing none, may I have a motion from one of the committee members for application A07-/24? Brad,
Thank you, Your Worship. I move that the application be approved as submitted.
may I have a seconder? Henry? That the Committee of Adjustments, having given consideration to the applicable provisions of Section 45 of the Planning Act, the official plan of the Township of Springwater, the characteristics of the land in question and its surrounding as addressed in the planning report on the application dated April 24, 2024, or the correspondent received and information presented at the hearing held on April 24, 2024, and discussion of the matter hereby approved application A07-24 as applied for. All in favor? Carried. Thanks very much.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Bye. Will the Secretary Treasurer please introduce the next application, item number 4.4 on the agenda?
Thank you. Yes, item 4.4 on the agenda is minor variance application A0824 submitted by Jay Walker regarding lands known municipally as 10 Lorne Street and legally described as Lot 98 on Plan 448, former Township of Elmville, or former Village of Elmville, sorry. The purpose of the application is to permit the construction of a detached accessory building with a ground floor area of 62.71 square meters and a maximum height of 6.2 meters. Whereas section 375B permits a maximum height of 4.5 meters or the height of the dwelling, whichever is the lesser.
Have any additional correspondence and or comments been received?
One item of correspondence has been received from the Severn Sound Environmental Association stating that the site is in an existing developed urban area and they do not have any natural heritage comments on the proposal.
May I please have the applicant introduce himself and provide comment, if any? Welcome.
There. Mr. Chair. Thank you for your consideration on my minor variance. Ultimately, I'm looking at maximizing storage at our property. We've been shopping around for potentially moving, but after looking at a few properties, we have found again, we really do love where we are and we would love to invest in where we are. One of the biggest issues right now is space. As of right now, we are currently renting at the Elmville Storage Locker to offset storage. Between giving my old truck a real home it deserves with all the toys that I can dream of, I'd love for the wife to have her own storage space as well. Thanks for your consideration.
Thank you. Are there any members of the public registered to make an oral submission?
Thank you, Chair. There have been no members of the public who have registered to make an oral submission for this application.
Thank you. Are there any additional members of the public in attendance this evening to make an oral submission? Seeing none, thank you. Do any members of the committee wish to comment or have any questions concerning this application? Steve?
Thank you, Madam Chair. To the applicant, so you're proposing to increase the height to 6.2 meters. What is the hindrance in not going to 4.5 and staying within the allowance of the bylaw?
To allow adequate headroom as within the house that I'm in, we're very adequate with, or very minimal with the space we have within the house. I'd love to have adequate space within the garage and accessible storage headroom to store anything and above what we need, plus my garage hobbies.
Follow on?
Yeah, through Madam Chair, I've got concerns with the application. Completing a site visit and going around the area. There's no other accessory building that I could see that would have a height of this size. There's a building towards the end of the property at what's it brings it up at 34 William Street, and it looks like it's just an accessory building. So I don't think that's a residentially zoned property because it doesn't look like there's a dwelling there. I think when you look at the character of the area, they're all single story accessory buildings or maybe a story and a half, which is what the bylaw intends. The height of this building is going to be close to, if not at the same height as the existing dwelling, which is of concern. The staff report outlines GFA of the existing dwelling. And if you take the GFA of this proposed accessory building, it would be larger than the existing house. Now, I know the accessory buildings are measured by ground floor area, but my concern is that this accessory building would now give the visual of the principal building on the property. It's bigger than the house and it's not supposed to be in these types of residential areas. So those are my concerns. I'll let other members provide their comments. And if I have any other comments for the applicant or staff, I'll provide at that time. Thank you.
Steve? Or Brad again?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just want to state that my comments are consistent with Member Farquinson's, that it's not consistent with the area. And I don't think it's appropriate for the area, and I won't be supporting it.
And do you have anything else?
Yeah, I visited the area and I really didn't see a problem with the height being what is proposed. It wasn't taking away view from anywhere else. And so really I don't see an issue with the height.
Now to the township, is there any place around that area or within Elmville with the same height?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Through you to the rest of committee. I know I checked on the road and there wasn't something that equaled it. Something that I did kind of note when I was looking at this is if he ever wanted to redevelop this house, he could build it up to 11 meters if he wanted to, and then at that point, the house may not exceed, or sorry, the garage would not exceed that square footage, or sorry, the height as well. And I know, I think when we looked at the application, it was something like 4 inches over the height of the house, so I didn't really see too much of an issue with it, but I do take committee's comments here as well.
Thank you.
Through you, Madam Chair, to staff. So if the allowance, I believe you said was 11 meters, if the applicant attaches this to his house, he can have that height. He can go up to 11 meters. So to the applicant, was that ever considered if you attached it to your house? Would you, like, was that considered as part of, instead of having a detached accessory structure, attach it to your house and then you don't even need the approval of the committee?
Correct, it was of consideration, but to go through the work for it, I was looking at just the accessory garage and storage ability within the building. May I speak to I do believe a neighboring property, not on my street, but backing onto my property, does have an accessory 2-story building on their property. Just wondering if that's of any concern or.
Go ahead, Steve.
Through you, Madam Chair, yeah, as part of the character of the area, when staff does their recommendations, they take that in consideration. When I completed my inspection, yes, it is taken into consideration, but my opinion, when I look at that without seeing exactly how high it is, what you're proposing would still be higher. So that's where I take my consideration as part of it. Thank you.
Any other questions? May I have a motion from one of the committee members for application A08-24? Yeah, motion. Steve?
To Madam Chair, I recommend that the application be denied as it does not meet the 4 tests under the Planning Act. Thank you.
May I have a second? Oh, Brad? That the Committee of Adjustments, having given consideration to the applicable provisions of Section 45 of the Planning Act, the official plan of the Township of Springwater, the characteristics of the land in question and surrounding as addressed in the planning report on the application dated April 24, 2024, the correspondence received and the information presented at the hearing held on April 24, 2024, and the discussion on the matter hereby. We have to vote. So defer application 0 denied? Oh, denied. So denied application A08-24 as applied. All in favor?
So it's defeated.
Yes, so
Are you voting in favor of the
Yeah.
deferral or the denial?
no.
Okay, so you're not voting, so then the motion's defeated.
Yeah.
So you can write a motion to approve it. Yeah.
Yes, so
So maybe, Henry, do you want to bring a motion forward to approve?
do you want to bring another motion forward to approve?
Yep.
Go ahead, Henry.
I'd like to make a motion that we approve this application as presented and following the recommendations from the planning staff.
Need a seconder. A seconder? And I have a seconder,
So he's putting on.
Steve. All in favor?
Defeated.
It's defeated. So when it's, go ahead, Steve.
Madam Chair, I'd put another motion on the floor that it be deferred for the applicant to revise his application and come back to the committee with an alternative lower number. Thank you.
I have a seconder on that? Brad? All in favor? Bring it back. Carried. So what that means is your first motion was denied because we had a tie. So instead of denying it, we're going to defer it to come back to see if you can make some changes. If I'm not correct, township can let you know.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Henry, do you want?
Yeah, so I just to make it clear for the applicant is really all we were wanting to do then is to make it a little bit lower. Other than that, there's no issues, right?
Or attached,
Pardon?
or attached to that.
Yeah, okay, but yeah.
Steve?
Yeah, through you, Madam Chair, correct, yeah, the applicant, this gives the applicant an opportunity to look at his plans, potentially reduce the height, and he can have discussions with staff feel that the height right now is appropriate. And then he'd come back to the committee, propose that new height, and then we would then consider it at that time.
Yeah, so the planning staff will be in touch with you with other options, and then you can come back and see us again. Thank you very much. Will the Secretary Treasurer please introduce the next application item number 4.5 on the agenda?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Item 4.5 on the agenda is minor variance application A0924 submitted by B&J Garside, right, regarding lands known municipally as 3452 Rainbow Valley Road West and legally described as part south half of Lot 25 Concession 2, former Township of Floss. The purpose of the application is to permit the construction of an additional residential unit as an addition within the existing detached accessory building measuring 26 square meters, resulting in a maximum total area of 183 square meters. Whereas section 33.314.1H permits a maximum total area of accessory buildings or structures of 115 square meters.
Has any additional correspondence and or comments been received?
Thank you. Comments have been received from the Severn Sound Environmental Association stating that they have no natural heritage comments on the property as the properties outside their watershed, and the Nottawasaga Valley Conservation Authority stating no objection.
Can I please have the applicant introduce themselves and provide comment, if any? Welcome.
Oh, hi. I'm Bob Garza. My wife Julie and our friend Gabe. And we have an existing building which was fully engineered and built in 2008 for the purpose of making maple syrup. And our intention now is to expand that building forward and adding 26 square meters or 280 square feet. So they'll both be, give you a combined 560 square feet and convert that into a additional residential unit so that it can be inhabited by our friend Gay.
Thank you. Are there any members of the public registered to make an oral submission?
Thank you, Chair. There have been no members of the public who have registered to make an oral submission.
Thank you. Have any additional members of the public in attendance this evening to make an oral submission? Seeing none, thank you. Do any members of the committee wish to comment or have any questions concerning the application? Steve?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just to the applicant, if you're adding in a residential to this building, will it have its own septic or will it tie into the existing septic on the property?
It'll have its own septic, which is going to be built by On-Site Sector. That's the name of the company.
Follow on?
Yeah, through you, Madam Chair, well, will have its own well as well?
It will have access to our current well by an underground pipe, which is already present.
Perfect, thank you.
May I have a motion from one of the committee members for application A09/24? Steve? Henry?
I make motion that we accept the application as presented and with the recommendations put forth by the planning committee. Thank you.
I have seconder? Brad? That the Committee of Adjustments having given consideration to the applicable provisions of section 45 of the Planning Act, the official plan of the Township of Springwater, the characteristics of the land in question and its surrounding as addressed in the planning report on the application dated April 24, 2024, the correspondence received and information presented at the hearing held on April 24, 2024, and the discussion of the matter hereby approve application A09/2020 A09/24 as applied for. All in favor? Carried. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Will the Secretary Treasurer please introduce the next application, item number 4.6 on the agenda?
Thank you, Chair Ma Chapman. Item 4.6 on the agenda is consent application B1124 submitted by Mr. Gambino on behalf of M. Gambino regarding lands known municipally as 4904 County Road 90, being legally described as East Half Lot 23 and Part Lot 24, Concession 10 being Parts 1, 2, and 3 on Plan 51R26734, former Township of Espra. The purpose of the application is to obtain approval of a boundary adjustment consent to convey and merge a parcel of land measuring approximately 0.71 hectares from 4904 County Road 90 to the abutting parcel municipally known as 4844 County Road 90. The application proposes to retain approximately 30.94 hectares of lot area.
Have any additional correspondence and or comments been received?
Sorry about that. We have received comments and correspondence from the drainage and superintendent who noted that the property is not assessed into a municipal drain. From Hydro One, noting that the subject lands are abutting and or bisected by a high voltage transmission corridor. Hydro One further states that they have no objection in principle to the proposed severance, provided that their easement rights are protected and maintained. Severn Sound Environmental Association noted they have no natural heritage comments as the property is outside their watershed, and the Nottawasaga Valley Conservation Authority stated no objection.
Can I please have the applicant introduce themselves and provide comment, if any?
Hi, my name's Frank.
Welcome.
We just put the application in so that we can have extra space for the existing house that's there now that we own. And really has no use to the golf course, so we just want to add it to the house so that we have more space.
Thank you. Are there any members of the public registered to make an oral submission?
Thank you, Chair. There have been no members of the public who have registered to make an oral submission.
Thank you. Are there any additional members of the public in attendance this evening to make an oral submission? Thank you. Do any members of the committee wish to comment or have any questions concerning the application? Brad?
Step a quick one. I think it's for Brianna. Is there anything in place in the future to stop this from being severed either by the current or a future owner? To create a new lot?
Sorry, through you, Chair, to Member Brad Sokach. I didn't really hear the question. Can you just repeat it?
Sure. Is there anything in place that would stop this in the future from being severed either by the current owner or a future owner? Or is that still a possibility?
So the future of this parcel, it is in the commercial recreational tourism zone. So as long as the lot area in minimums meant that, then there could be potential. But I don't know if that's in the applicant's. I know this is the applicant right here. I don't think they have any future of further severing it. I can't speak to what applications will come out in the future, but the other thing to comment on would be it is a county road. County are pretty strict on allowing more accesses, so that would be something the county would have to comment on.
May I have a motion for one of the committee members for application B11/24? Steve,
Thank you, Madam Chair. Put forward a motion that the application be approved as per the staff report and the conditions contained within it. Thank you.
may I have a seconder? Henry? That the report from the planner regarding the consent application B11/24 be received and that the subject to input received at the public meeting and the discussion that follows, the Committee of Adjustments approve application B11/24 subject to the following conditions. That the applicant meet all requirements, financial otherwise, of the municipality. That the applicant provide 2 copies of the registered survey of the convened lands prepared by the Ontario Land Surveyor. That the applicant satisfy and be responsible for all costs to satisfy section 65 of the Drainage Act 1990 if applicable. And to the Committee of Adjustments from Deborah Ann List, planner date April 24, 2024. Subject applicant B11/24 boundary adjustments 4844 and 4904 County Road 90, Gambino, page 2 of 8.
Sorry.
Oh, sorry, I read too much.
That's okay. I think we just need to repeat that condition, so number 3.
I'll repeat number 3, that the applicant satisfy and be responsible for all costs to satisfy section 65 of the Drainage Act 1990 if applicable, and that the conveyed land from 4904 County Road 90 be merged with the benefiting land known in municipality as 4844 County Road 90. All in favor? Carried. Thanks very much.
Thank you very much.
Is there any other business this evening?
There's no other business.
May I have a move and a seconder to adjourn this meeting? Brad and Henry? That this Committee of Adjustments meeting held on April 24, 2024 does now adjourn at 6:38 PM. All in favor? Carried.